Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Hope you all had a fantastic Christmas yesterday. Plenty to dive into today. The big update being that the Masters event, the only Masters event of the 2023 VCT season, will take place in Tokyo. Many reactions to this, certainly from Marved as well, suggesting that he probably wants to be back on a VCT team by the time Masters Tokyo comes around. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's dive straight into things. Merry Christmas, of course, for yes, if you go celebrate it. Some funny tweets as a result. Now, firstly, an actual match that was taking place on Christmas Day was over in China. There was this kind of invitational tournament here where Edward Gaming, the #1 team to beat from the Chinese region, they made the grand finals up against Fun Plus Phoenix, Zucrate, not exactly sure how to pronounce that, definitely butchered it. But anyway, it's kind of funny because this FPX team, Edward Gaming just straight up 3-0'd them in the upper finals and then lost 3-1 in the grand finals. So confusing, but still pretty surprising stuff I've got to say for this Christmas period. But Edward Gaming, of course, are going to be looking to get involved next season in greater fashion than they were already. But the key complaint that I've seen so far about this Masters event that is in Tokyo, we'll see in a second, is the lack of teams that will be attending compared to what we have had in the past. Now, a couple of roster things to mention here. dapr, of course, formerly been around the European scene for a long time in Valorant now, seems to be joining a team, then getting dropped and all this type of stuff, and has now mutually agreed with Mad Lions to part ways. So you know, wishing dapr the best for the future, kind of like the absolute reaper of the tier 2 scene it seems, but hopefully a better opportunity can be on the horizon. Now, speaking of teams that are kind of locked in, ready to go, we've got you know, this kind of discussion here yesterday between some of the guard guys, of course, Valen here, Derek from 100 Thieves, and then even Net says from the guard as well, all I want for Christmas is what they have, and then of course being the bit of a bromance going on between Cryo and Bang that will likely be teammates for a very long time to come, and even Asuna and Bang have a pretty good relationship there as well. Now, this is of course a team that will be intending to be good enough to qualify and go out there to Masters in Tokyo, which is where it has officially been confirmed. Now, we've seen so many great events and crowds in the Japanese scene the last couple of seasons. Certainly last year there were so many good ones, and it's really cool that Riot are listening and saying, you know what, Valorant in Japan did so well that they have earned their right to hold a Masters event, and I'm sure the crowd's going to be spectacular. Now, hopefully a Japanese team, at least one, can actually qualify for this, which would be a real travesty if they don't, and especially because the amount of teams attending is rather lower than you might well expect for an event of this caliber. But nonetheless, the crowds in Japan have been absolutely insane for so many events in recent memory, and I think they've had the best crowds and some of the best commentators and some of the hype moments here. I mean, obviously look at this, right, the commentators here when Zeta Division took down an IP, absolutely fantastic, and hopefully we get more of the same this upcoming season. I think it's been a kind of key request in many parts of the community to hold a Masters event here in Tokyo, Japan, but this season there's only one Masters event, so this is it, basically. This is where it goes. Now, in fairness, there are other events that would kind of be like Masters, but this season they're not called Masters. It's the kickoff event at the start of the season. So the 2023 Masters is in Tokyo, Japan. Really cool stuff. Now, I'm still a little bit confused at the way the format works. Just not confused, it's pretty obvious, but it's just a bit surprising to me that there's one Masters event in the middle of the season. This is in June, where we shall see in a second. That's where the Tokyo event is being held. So this is the season, the start of January. Right at the start, the challenge just begins. The qualifiers that we have seen, I believe, on January the 9th or whenever, that's when they begin. Challenger Split 1 at Challenger Split 2. Then in July, the Ascension tournament goes alongside the LCQ, where the teams in the Tier 2 side will qualify for Tier 1 next year, and then of course all the teams to get to Champions will be determined. Now, the kickoff in the Pro side is in February. That's what would in the past kind of just been another Masters event. They would have just done qualifiers, then Masters, qualifiers, then Masters. This time they're doing big kickoff in Sao Paulo, all 30 teams there from across the globe. One team wins, then you do the International League split in kind of March through April, then it's Masters in kind of May, June, then the LCQ, then Champs. So not really that much Valorant to be played, to be perfectly honest. Hopefully next year there shall be more. Tier 2, if anything, for a time this season is going to be more interesting than Tier 1. But nonetheless, this is the singular Masters event of the season, and it was unclear where it would be. We know where the kickoff is in Sao Paulo. We don't know where Champions is, I believe, but we do now know where Masters is. It's going to be in Tokyo. Now, it's going to take place in June, and this is the way the format works. So there's only going to be 3 teams attend from each league, and the winner of the lock-in tournament. So there's 10 teams, of course, in each league around the world, 10 teams in the Americas, 10 teams in the Europe, Middle East and Africa region, 10 teams in the Pacific, and out of those, only 3 teams go from each region, but then you get the winner of the lock lock-in tournament as well. So it was a little bit unclear, and it's still a little bit unclear to me, whether the winner of the lock-in tournament, of course, that's the kickoff event in Sao Paulo at the start of the year, the team that wins that, I believe what is actually happening is the winner of that tournament, their region gets one additional slot for Masters. So I believe that was the question that was made. Now, the likelihood is if you win that Sao Paulo kickoff event and you get one extra spot for your region, you're going to be a team that qualifies, right? Like, you're not going to come 5th, more than likely, out of the qualification spots from your league if you win the kickoff event and you're a team that's good enough to achieve that. So basically the way it will work is that there's 3 teams from each league, but 4 teams from the region in which the team that wins the kickoff event. So if a Zeta Division or a DRX or whoever wins from the Pacific side, then they will get 4 spots to the kind of Masters Tokyo event, whereas if, let's say 100 Thieves win the kickoff in Sao Paulo, then Americas will get 4 spots. Same thing for Fnatic, Liquid, whatever, if they win for EMEA. So pretty understandable format, good stuff, I think. The idea is like, you know, the better region to get more spots. Cool idea. We've seen that kind of requested in the past for NA, that many have said, you know what, NA are so good, which maybe it was not the case, right, depending on who you ask, that they should get more spots for the event than they actually were allowed. So that's how it works. Now, of course, the frustrating part for many is that, well, why are there only 10 teams to go to this event? Because, like, I understand it, right, there's 30 teams around the world, you narrow it down to the best 10 teams for the event, which is understandable, but at the same time, you are restricting a lot of the competition that you might otherwise get. And also because, like, look, you've got Masters in Tokyo, you know, will they get a Japanese team in the top 3 there? You'd hope they will, I think they should, but nonetheless, it's not guaranteed as it stands that there's a Japanese team that goes to Masters in Tokyo, Japan. It shouldn't necessarily be guaranteed. Like, obviously, you should have to earn your spot at the Masters event regardless of where it is, but just the way the format is doesn't allow that to really take off, right? And this has been the question from Willminder and plenty of others as well. Only 10 teams. Like in the previous seasons, a big complaint has been about Champions, but also about the Masters events, that there's too few teams, really. Now, you know, maybe now we're in a franchise league and there's only 30 teams total. Having 10 teams goes to Masters is okay. I guess realistically, if you're going from 30 down to 12, that does feel like, you know, it's the Masters kind of the league, but the league already is so competitive, especially in multiple regions. I would have said, you know, maybe just do 4 from each region anyway and just do 12 total. Like, you know, I think 12 is better than 10 because at the end of the day, last year, that's kind of what was happening. This is Masters 2 in Copenhagen. There were 8 teams, of course, in the groups, and then of these 8 teams, 4 qualified, and of those 4 that qualified, they then played against the 4 top seeds. So there was then, you know, it was 12 teams total, and that was the way the format worked. Now, this season, not exactly sure what they're going to do with 10 teams, but yeah, is 10 teams too restrictive for you guys? Do you think that there should be more than 10 teams attending an event like the Masters? Maybe so, but I guess it depends what they do with Champions, right? Because, like, you know, to me, it's a bit strange only having one Masters event, even though the kickoff is kind of a Masters, just because, like, you know, what is the actual difference between Masters and Champions in this format? The tournaments are kind of the same. It's still the best from around the world, and maybe Champions, they have more teams, and that's what makes it different. That Masters is really like, you know, only the playoffs between the best of the best, and then the Champions is more teams allowed to attend through the last chance qualifiers and stuff, or maybe it's just going to be another 10 team event, and it's like, well, you know, what's kind of the point in the first place of making the difference? So a little bit confused about the format stuff, but I think it's understandable in some senses. Now, this is what Marved says, and very interesting to me that he says Tokyo question mark with the eyes emoji, certainly wanting to attend. Now, would Marved attend just as a fan for the fun of it? Maybe he would, or maybe he's saying, you know what, okay, June, Tokyo Masters is coming up. What about if I'm back in business by then? I would not be surprised about this at all. We saw what FNS said the other day as well, that he believes that Marved has a plan to get back into tier 1. He's going to wait for some teams to underperform. He's going to take one of their spots, which probably will be given to him at some point or another, and then he's going to qualify for Tokyo and attend that event. This kind of indicates to me Marved's intentions here. Okay, Tokyo, obviously he's pretty excited about the possibility of having a Masters event there, and is certainly looking at his possibilities to say, you know what, okay, let's say by the time March comes around, Marved might be able to have an opportunity to step back into a tier 1 roster, get that team to qualify, and then go to Masters in Tokyo on his own merit, which is definitely a possibility as well. So very much interested in your thoughts in the comments section below. Now, this is a key talking point as well. Of course, we believe and we're certainly hoping that Split will be back in the meta at some point. There have been some rumors as to what changes will be made to Split, but yeah, by the time the season begins in February, we are expecting some changes here to the map pool. Of course, we know that Binder's gone, a Breeze is gone, and this type of stuff, but yeah, we think the Split's coming back in at some point. Valor Intel seems to believe that, yeah, soon it's coming back. Chetiv MNRG says, you know, and bring Bind back as well in addition to Split. Maybe that's a controversial official take, but certain teams like Binds, like of course the OpTic guys and the NRG core now, and certain teams do not. But yeah, maybe split back, maybe Binds back. Doubt this is going to happen, but we know that split's coming back. We don't know what changes we made to the map though to make it play better for competitive play. And just one more thing to mention here, to no surprise of anyone, the NA VCT MVP goes to Yay. What a season from this guy. We saw Cryo, I believe, got the second place MVP in this leaderboard, but yeah, Yay was clear number one. Can he keep this performance up on Cloud9? From what we've seen so far, Cloud9 aren't going to be such a dominant force as OpTic were, and whether in a non-chamber meta Yay can be quite as impactful as he was before seems unlikely, but yeah, it's unlikely that any player that used to run chamber can be as impactful now as they were during the height of the chamber meta, but I'm sure Yay, with his abilities, can probably figure out some way to do it. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. This is, you know, Zom's nice little Christmas present here. I think this is a Rolex Daytona. Again, watch guys, let me know. But yeah, I think this might, I mean, it's like, it's just iced out on the dial, man. This guy's absolutely out of control. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.